Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, we're just going to do another velocity banking review. So, what is velocity banking? All it is a debt payoff strategy where you throw all of your money into debt with the help of something called a line of credit. And once all your debt is paid off, I'm going to be honest with you, you just feel richer than the average bear. Just feel richer than the average bear. And if you're new to this channel, you don't know who I am. I paid off a mortgage in 2 years and 9 months, and I remember when I, felt that, I was like, "Huh, feel richer than the average bear." Isn't that how you would feel? Richer than the average bear. And if you don't know where that's from, that's a Yogi Bear reference. Actually, he said he's smarter than the average bear, but we're richer than the average bear. In fact, if you don't know what I'm talking about, let's go ahead and watch a clip of The Simpsons, a Yogi Bear parody, if you don't know what Yogi Bear is, but let's go ahead and watch.
Hey, Bart. Looks like a beautiful day to swipe some picnic baskets.
But homie, Ranger Ned's not gonna like that.
I'll handle Ranger Ned. After all, I'm smarter than the average bear.
Well, hello there, Ho Diddly-o-me. Well, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to ask you to hand over that picture.
Gee, homie, it's not very nice to maul Ranger Ned.
You want some of this?
uh Rich bears don't do that. Okay. We're a little bit nicer, but smart bears maybe they might, right? Smart people do go a little bit crazy. But yes, I did pay off a mortgage in 2 years and 9 months. In fact, here's the other cool thing too. My first rental real estate check was about 14 grand. The rental real estate check, and then I'm going to get almost a 13 grand check, so this is kind of like a payout that I'm going to get in about 1 month or so for about 13 grand, or maybe it's going to be split over time, I don't know. But, here's the thing about making money and debt, and a lot of people for some reason act like they're going to get into debt and not make any money, right? And here's the thing about debt is that banks don't lend money to people who need it. So you have to make money. That's like the prerequisite of getting into debt. But the problem is that once people get into debt, they don't throw their money into debt. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're going to do today with the help of something called the line of credit. And then if you don't know what this is the velocity banking crack and the velocity banking Kool-Aid, according to, I believe it's Meta AI. So let's go ahead and get started. Velocity banking. What is it? Debt payoff strategy. Throw all your money into debt, line of credit, blah, blah, blah. So, first step is to create a budget, right? So, you have your income, your expenses, and then your leftover savings. So, the way that we think about how the average American does banking is that they pay their debts, right? And then leave the leftover in savings. Whereas with velocity banking, we're gonna dump all of our money into a line of credit and we're not going to save money, right? And then, whoopsie, we're not going to save money. And then we're going to have this number called cash flow that we're going to try to increase as much as possible when we pay off debts in a certain order. Okay. But if you take a look here, oh, that's a pretty nice check, 14 grand. Actually, you want to stare at this with me for a moment? 14. I can't even believe this happened to me. You know what's funny? I have a text message from the tenant. When the tenant gave me like a 14 grand check, she was like, "Thank you so much. We appreciate you." I was like, "Aw," like one of those 90s, um, what do you call it? The studio audience, whenever they had like a cute child come in on the television screen, it's like, "Aw," that's how I felt once I got that 14 grand check, and the text message saying how we appreciate you so much. Now, if the tenant didn't give me a 14 grand check, I would just be like, yeah, I don't really care what you're saying. No, no. Should I say that? I don't even know. All right. Give me the money. That's really the whole point of this. All right. So let's go ahead and go all the way up here. Right. So this is how this looks like in real life, where if money comes in, you just don't save it, right? And then it just goes out into the line of credit. And again, this is a debt payoff strategy. So once you write down your expenses, you got to make sure you list every single debt that you have. So in this case, it'll be 5 credit cards, a car loan, student loan, mortgage, and then your general expenses, which is not debt, right? The things you have to always pay every month, food, gas, insurance, and all that other stuff. Okay. And then we're going to also assume we have access to something called a line of credit. So, what's a line of credit? All it is a financial tool where you could borrow money, pay it back, and then use it over and over again. So, a credit card is technically a line of credit, but there's also things called personal lines of credit, home equity lines of credit. And so, I'm showing you my what used to be a $280,000 home equity line of credit. Now it's $373,500. Look at that. Look at that. 373,500. So what this means is I could click a button on the bank's website and potentially up to the credit limit in a swoop, in a snap, right? Dump money into my checking account, no questions asked. Okay. So $373,500. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people are asking, is this real? What are you talking about? You know, I just yes, I made this all up so that I can get my $200 of YouTube ad revenue a month. That's literally what I did this for. Okay. All right. So what am I even talking about? I don't know. See, here's the thing. Once you've made so many videos, you probably get worse at teaching this because you just kind of go on and on and on and off on tangents. It's like, oh, I paid off my mortgage in 2 years and 9 months. And then there's probably like students who want to really like learn this, and I'm just like blabbing on and on and on just because I don't have to care, and that's kind of like why the people that you actually want to learn from, side tangent here, are people who are maybe one or two levels above you. You don't want to really learn from the master because the master is just like distracted like me, right? I think so, right? Sometimes people say I'm a cult leader, velocity banking cult leader. I don't know. I may be. Wink, wink. Anyways, all right. So let's go back here. And what we're going to do is increase our cash flow. And so, what we're going to, how do we know how to increase our cash flow, right? And we're going to make a very unrealistic assumption is that we're going to have access to a free and clear line of credit, $180,000 credit limit. Okay. Now, will the bank, when you have only $151 left over, give you a free and clear line of credit? The answer to that is no. And I say this as a person who has over $697,000 in lines of credit. And you can see all this, like, look at all this. Right? Oh, yeah. Here's the secret, okay? Here's I got all this credit, and I just kind of don't worry about getting credit anymore. Banks don't lend money to people who need it. And once you understand this principle, because the difference between most people, your average person who honestly does not listen to me when I tell them this, versus people who do listen to me, is that it's easy to get credit when you don't need the money, right? So when a bank sees someone like me who's getting possibly a 14 grand check from a tenant, or whatever, 20 grand in this checking account here, right? Actually, let me stare at the 14 grand check from a tenant. Yeah, let's do that. Or 12 grand check from a tenant too. That's pretty good. Not as good as last year's performance, but it's still pretty good. But anyways, when a bank sees that you don't need money, that's when they somehow roll out the carpet for the credit lines, right? They just say, "Hoo hoo, you don't need money. Okay, you don't need money. Ooh, sure. Let's give you a $373,500 line of credit. Okay, what? You paid off your mortgage in 2 years and 9 months, and you have plenty of equity? Well, okay. Let's give this person a nice line of credit. Okay. We're going to go ahead and do that. All right. Banks don't lend money to people who need it. Now, why do I always assume that we have a free and clear line of credit? Because this could have been your lifesaver, right? So you kind of have to think of a line of credit. It's almost like car insurance. Okay. You don't crash the car without car insurance and then say, hey, I'm going to try to get car insurance, right? That's what the bank sees, okay? That's what the bank sees when they see you here. When they see that you need money and you've crashed the car, then they're like, whoa, this person doesn't even have car insurance. Why would we want to give them a line of credit, right? They see a big car crash. They see a big risk. Risk is the name of the game. Banks, whenever they see a person who needs money, they run away, right? You ever had a friend borrow money from you and they said, bro, I need the money. And then what happened? Because the bank is an institution with many, 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 many years of experience dealing with millions and millions and possibly billions of people. They know lending money to people who need it is a giant risk. That's why when your friends, family try to borrow money from you, okay, they try to borrow money from you, they were like, oh man, someone's messaging me. One second. What's going on? All right, anyways, sorry, I got distracted. But what was I saying? So yeah. So when you lent money to friends and family, they're like, I need this so much, they probably didn't pay you back. Right? Bank knows that. They do gajillion transactions every single day. So they know who's a deadbeat and's not going to pay them back. Right? Anyways, all right. So this what I'm saying is that this line of credit could have been your lifesaver. And how do we know which debts to move into the line of credit to increase our cash flow? We're just going to use something called the cash flow index. Relatively simple. All it is the balance divided by a monthly payment, 15,000, divided 487.5, 27,000, divided by 855, divided by, so 30,000, divided 1050. Whoopsie, 1050. And oh, did I screw up? 1050. And then this one is 35,000 divided by 1137.5. And then this one is 12,000 divided by 310. And this one is 20. Actually, I think I have it somewhere else. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Okay. So let me go ahead and copy this. But again, it's just the balance divided by the payment, which gives you an arbitrary number. And then you use that as a ranking system. Okay. You just kind of use it as an easy ranking system. And if you have these low numbers, that means you just get more bang for your buck for paying off the loan. Whereas with the 30-year mortgage, this high number essentially means that you get little bang for your buck for paying off the loan, right? So you have this huge mortgage that if you pay off, you only get $948 a payment, right? That's why we always handle the mortgage last, okay? So let's go ahead and figure out how much credit card debt we have. And I'm going to go ahead and sum this up. So this is going to be $119,000 of credit card debt. So let's go ahead and move that into the line of credit. And guess what happens once we move that credit card debt there, right? And then this is going to be 0,0,0,0,0. And look at that. Do we make more money? Income's the same, $7,600, but simply by shifting our debt and not saving money, we literally went from $151 to $3,991. Whoa. Okay. Oh, man. All right, let's go ahead and do this. And then now we do the final step is to put our entire paycheck into the line, take the expenses out, and rinse and repeat over and over again. And then our cash flow will be used to pay down the debt, right? So see how easy that is? My goodness, that is so easy. All right, so now what we do is take the previous month's balance, previous month's interest, and then we subtract our cash flow. So 3991.82. And then what we're going to do is take the average daily balance, multiply it by the interest rate, and then divide by 12. Okay. And then we get the monthly interest here. And look at that. Like, how is the debt going down so easily? My goodness. All right. We literally went $151 here with all this credit card debt left over. And then here, it's just like, whoa, it's just going down. All right. That's much simpler than I thought it would be. Okay. Much simpler than I thought it would be. Right. And yeah. So now we're at 34 months. Okay. So let's go ahead. At 34 months, and then how much was that? It's 119K. And I'm gonna copy and paste this, right? And then now let's tackle the amortized loans. Let's speed run through this thing, okay? Yeah, so let's go ahead and put in this loan calculator 34 months, so 34, 34, 34, right? And let's go ahead and move the loan that with the highest or lowest cash flow index, get more bang for a buck, because basically saying, hey, pay $9,000, get $382 back in cash flow, or pay 19 grand and get 277, right? So even though this has a higher interest rate, we want more bang for our buck when it comes to cash flow. Makes your life so much easier when you think this way. All right, so let me go ahead and do this, and then I'm going to move this, do this right here, and then this is going to be plus 9343.46. Okay, and then we're going to get an extra $382 back in our cash flow, and look at that, $4,373.84. Pretty sweet. All right, so now we're going to do this. 4373.84. And then now what we're going to do is copy and paste this, right? And then, all right. So in 36 months, it's all completely paid off. And then, so this is going to be 36 months. 119 plus 20, that's 139K, 139K. And then in 36 months, so this is 0, this is going to be 36. Let's move the student loan into the line of credit. All right, let's go ahead and do that. And I'll do this. And then this is going to be plus 18999.23. And then we get an extra $277. So now our cash flow is about 4,600. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And then I am going to do 4651.39. Okay. And so now in 40 months, that's all paid off. All right. So 40 months equals 139 plus 25, and it's 164K. 164K. And then in 40 months, what's the balance? 40. All right, let's go ahead and open up the Velocity Banking Calculator. Give me one moment. All right, we got the Velocity Banking Calculator open. I just got to fill in the correct details. 208,778.32. So this is going to be 208,778.32. And then let's go ahead. And what's our current income and expenses? 7,600 and 2,000. So 7,600 is our income, and then 2,000 is our expenses, and then 8,000. Okay, we're gonna chunk it off, which means that we just take a piece of the loan and move it into the line of credit. That's one way you could do it. But here's the thing: if you move the whole loan into the line of credit, you pay like 3 times the interest. And the thing is that even if you use a 30% credit card, that's actually less than an 8% line of credit moving the whole loan into the line of credit. Okay, so 3.3 years. All right. And quick plug, I got this from Renatus. So if you want to learn, okay, about real estate investing and some other stuff, click the Google form link below. I get money, and in addition to, let's say, tenants giving me money, kind of like this right here, or even this one right here, you give me money too. Pay me. I get commission, right? Give me the money. Okay. Anyways, so let's go back here. And the cool thing is I don't need the money. See, that's why the bank gives me huge lines of credit. All right, so 3.3 years, and I am going to do this here, and then this is 0, and then so this would be 40 divided by 12 plus 3.3, and then it's going to be 3 years, and then we're debt free. Okay, 6.63 years. You ever watch those Velocity Banking videos? The YouTubers like, pay off your mortgage in 7 to 10 years. What are you talking about? Do it in 3. Do it in less than 3, right? 6.6 years, 3 years to be completely debt free. And then I don't know if you want to be like rich like me. Actually, here's the thing. I always say this, right? I may be rich, but at least I pretend to be on YouTube, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Anyways, what the am I even talking about? Anyways, I paid off my mortgage in 2 years and 9 months, right? 2 years and 9 months. So when I did that, I was like, I'm richer than the average bear. That's what we got to strive for. Like, we don't, if someone tells me they paid off a 30-year mortgage in 7 to 10 years, I'm like, not impressed. Not impressed. In fact, I think that's That's a line from Justice League, Zack Snyder's version with Superman as Henry Cavill. Superman. Whoopsie. By the way, I actually want to write Superman, but Sydney Sweeney, she came up with her own soap. Sydney's Bathwater Bliss. Sydney's Bloody Bliss. What? I didn't know. What am I? This is new to me. I saw this one. I was like, what are we selling here? Folks, people get rich off toilet piss bliss? Alrighty then. All right. So obviously I don't understand the world anymore, but oh my goodness. When did they come up with this one? At Walmart? Why does her face look more homely here than here and then here? Okay, obviously something is man. Man, this is I only thought it would be she was selling this one, the Bathwater Bliss. Okay, well, all right. Good thing I didn't buy any of them. Piss Bliss and Bloody Bliss. What's the deal? Anyways, so as I was saying something, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah, I totally. Oh, Superman. Okay, no, Superman. See, that's what I mean. Superman, not impressed, right? Remember that line? Not impressed, right? From Zack Snyder's Justice League. All right. Anyways, man, what a world. All right, so let me go back here. And so if you have watched till the end of this video, okay, and you're waiting for the secret code word, okay, to let me know that you watched to the end of this video, type in the YouTube comment box below, I'm richer than the average bear. Okay, that's the secret code word to let me know you watched to the end of this video. All right, well, that's it for today, folks. This is Korean Lanta Mentorship, and I'll see you all on the next video.